The Let's Find Out About It segment in OWL is a time of day when teachers can introduce substantive content to young children in very engaging ways. And by content, I mean science and social science content, basically. This is a bit unusual or unique, I think, to some of us who've taught a long time in early childhood programs. We have tended not to have a separate segment where we present information and use expository or information text with young children. But we have it in OWL, and it turns out to be a favorite of a lot of our teachers who are implementing OWL. This time of day is also shared with Let's Talk About It, which is a time when children and teachers can talk together about more social or emotional issues. And some days teachers use the time for that, and other days the teachers use the slot of the day for Let's Find Out More About It. You will see a teacher doing a segment of Let's Find Out About It focused on bottle pipes, glass bottles that are filled with water so that we can make musical tones, and she shows the children how she has done that, and she demonstrates. She also uses an expository text. It's one that comes with the OWL curriculum. It's called Let's Make Music, and she uses it briefly to just let them know that this is how she found information about this particular activity. So she demonstrates the use of the bottle pipes, explains a little bit of how she filled the bottles with water and colored it, and then she tells the children that, as in so many instances, they will have their turn using these materials from Let's Find Out About It in small groups starting the next day. And she then really switches almost into a Let's Talk About It kind of thing, and she says to them, because it's early in the year, now remember, not everyone will have a turn tomorrow. You know that we do have turns, but it takes several days for each group to have a turn. And so we really have here in the same day both Let's Find Out About It and Let's Talk About It. It just so happened in this instance she really dealt with both. Finally, at the end of this segment, there's a little bit of time left in the day. It's the end of day centers, and she transitions her children to a large rug area where they could use various construction toys. So you will see her use a transition activity to dismiss the children. I think in this case she named colors, and if their clothing had that color, they could get up and go to the rug area. And the reason she chose colors is because the water in the bottles she was demonstrating had colored water, so she was picking up from that. Next, we're going to talk about your Let's Find Out More About It, and I know a little bit of what it's going to be. It must be the bottle pipes. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure the biggest challenge, if you're like me, is how to get a sound out of those bottles.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Just have to experiment. Okay, maybe what we could do is, now this is a whole group situation.
Yes.
You're going to have all your children in front of you. And can you just tell us how you're going to start? I see you have the Let's Make Music books. I don't know if you're going to start with that or whether you'll start with the bottles or what.
I thought I would just start by saying we've been practicing and experimenting with different kinds of instruments, and that we were going to try something new and see if we could make music from the bottles.
Okay.
And then I was going to show them how I found out about it by showing them the book, Let's Make Music, and going to the contents page and showing them this is what we wanted to do, and go to 12 and then just go through and demonstrate how I filled up the bottles using a funnel and a pitcher to pour.
So you're going to show them a funnel and the pitcher
Yes.
you use. Okay. You're going to take them already filled.
Yes.
I would too.
Yes, yes.
So that they're already
Yes.
ready.
I like to have everything ready.
I'm sure you've experimented a bit with the levels so that you know
Yes.
there's a little variation in sound.
Yes.
Right. I guess a teacher could take an empty one and fill it to show how that that process
Process.
if you wanted to, but I would want to get organized
Nice.
myself like
Right.
you have. Okay, so you'll tell them where you got the idea, and then what will you do?
I'm going to just pick up a bottle and ask them what do they think is going to happen if I blow into it.
Okay.
And so I'll do that, and hopefully.
Ooh,
And then,
I have to get the right angle there. I noticed you tipped it different
yes,
ways, and then
I've
there was
been
that
practicing.
nice. Yeah,
It's
not easy.
I did it at home last night, and I couldn't get any. There was no variation, so I went to the garage and I got bigger bottles, and but I think I'm getting it down on how to do it.
Okay. Good. So you'll start with one of the contrasts, probably either the lowest,
lowest.
one, and then maybe go to the highest.
Right, and then ask them what kind of sound it made. Was it a low sound, a high sound, and then ask them, okay, if I take the bottle with that's full with water, what do they think is going to happen? And then I'll wait for some answers, and then I'll demonstrate.
Okay, and then help them observe. Okay. Now, do you think any child after you've used them, do you think anyone's going to say, "I want to"? I
Definitely.
Want to?
Oh,
Okay.
definitely.
And so today, though, for Let's Find Out About It, you'll probably just say, "I'm having the turns today," and then in small groups you're going to.
Right.
Okay.
And then they're going to actually be able to fill up the the bottles at
Okay.
small groups. So
Okay.
yes, it's just going to be an instructional
Introduction
today, yes.
Okay. Now, one of the things that I was thinking about when I read the instructions for this, and just knowing young children, and also, I don't know how many bottles you'll have at small groups and whether each child will have a set, but the idea that this is going to touch their mouths, and I just, do you have a lot of bottles, so when
Yes,
they're in small groups, each can have their own?
Exactly.
Okay.
Each child is going to have
Okay.
3 bottles of their own, just
Okay.
for that purpose.
So that you don't have to, you can disinfect
Fact-
while you're
right,
doing it,
but-
but
right.
it gets to be a problem. Okay, the other thing that I suspect teachers might wonder about is I've got a table of children and we have colored water, and of course, what if one got knocked over?
in their
so
glass.
do you use the tissue box trick, or what's your
Yes,
trick
that's what
for-
that's
Okay.
what we're going to do. I'm
Okay.
going to put them in a box so that they're stable.
Stable, yeah, good. I guess, will they fill them outside of the box, because this probably will be under the level?
Right,
but-
and then I'll have it going
Yeah.
from higher, the full, the medium, and the
Okay,
lower, right?
okay. This would be the table at small groups where the adult will be there all the
Oh,
time.
definitely.
This is a
There-
high
yes,
support,
there
yeah.
will be a high
High
support
support
for-
group.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, it looks like it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see their eyes.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
I think we're going to have some eye openers.
Right. And then for small groups, let me see. This is Thursday. So is it small groups next week that it starts, or does
I'm
that
gonna s-
cycle start tomorrow?
I'm going to start it
Oh,
tomorrow.
great.
Yes.
So we won't have to wait too long. Okay.
It's time to let's find out about something.
We're making whistles.
We have been doing a lot of talking about musical instruments. In our story, Oonga Boonga, grandfather played a musical instrument. Does anyone remember what music?
Harmonica.
A harmonica. You're right. And we made bottle shakers, right? Do you remember making the bottle shakers? And we used them at song time? Well, I have something new to show you. Richard, you can see Richard. I'm putting it right here.
What's
Now,
that?
now, I wanted to make some different kinds of music, and I said, what could we do to make different kinds of instruments? And I found this book, and it's called Let's Make Music. And look, there's the bottle shakers that we already made, right? So I opened up this book, and I said, what could we make? And I looked on my table of contents, and I said, bottle pipes. I wonder what will happen if we make bottle pipes. So I went over to page number 12 where it told me to go. And this book is going to tell me how to make bottle pipes. And the first thing we need is what? We need bottles. So what I did so that we would be ready, I already filled up our bottles. And I'm going to take them out now. I kept them in this tissue box to keep them safe. Why do you think Mrs. Goodwin wanted to keep them safe?
So they don't break.
So they don't break. I want everyone to see that I took my funnel, and we've used this in the water table, right? Where it has the wide opening and the narrow, and I put it in here, and I filled up my jug, and I filled it up. But I want you to look at my bottles. It told
Because you
me,
need to put water in it.
yes, it told me put a lot of water in one bottle,
Because
A
one get
little
big, one
water.
get big. Like look.
in
Oh,
one
two
bottle,
colors.
and then halfway for the other bottle. And then I put in some food coloring so that we can see the water better.
Yeah, because
Okay.
or you have two water.
How do you think I could make music from this? What do you think I could use? I said, well, maybe I could use my mouth. So I'm gonna try this. Let's see. And sometimes I might not get it right away, because you know how you have to practice to do things till you get it right? Let's see, I'm gonna put it up to my mouth. What kind of sound did that make?
Wow.
A what?
Wow.
A blow one. Stop.
Whistles.
What if I take my bottle that is filled almost all the way up, and if I blow into it, what kind of sound do you think I'm gonna get?
Yeah. Hi.
A high one? All right, let's try.
Yeah, noise.
It's loud, it's high. That sounds kind of like a whistle, huh? What kind of noise do you think if I use my bottle that has half water in it?
Color's blue.
Do you think it's gonna be high,
No.
like that, or low like that?
No. Whoa.
Do you think it's gonna be low? Let's see.
Loud.
Loud? I want to play all my bottles together. And I don't feel comfortable picking this up and putting it on my lap because they may spill over. So I'm going to put them in my box. Okay?
Are done with them?
No, now I feel better. I can pick it up better and hold it. So let's see if I can make all three of them make music, okay? I think I need more practice at this, don't I? Just like we all need practice when we're learning to do new things, right?
Something.
Now I have a surprise for you. Tomorrow, at small group time, everyone is gonna get bottles, and you're gonna be able to fill them up, and I will let you make music at small groups. Okay? Everyone. And what happens if you don't get a turn the first day? Will you get a turn the next day? Yes, because we have to take turns. Okay?
So what do you do today?
Well, you know what? We only have a few minutes before it's time to go home. So what I thought we would do is we would go over to the rug, and
Mommy.
our mommies are getting ready to come, and do some Legos and blocks. Okay? If you are wearing the color pink, you may go over to the black rug.
Me.
Linda has pink on. If you are wearing the color yellow, you may go over.
Me.
Where's your yellow?
You in some lotion.
Jason, right? Jason has yellow on. Matthew has yellow on. If you are wearing the color blue, you may go over Richard and Ashley and Roderick.
Okay, let's talk about let's find out more about it with the bottle pipes and how that went. And where did you start? I'm trying to think, I can't remember now. You started with the book, I guess.
I started
and not
with the
bottle.
book.
They'd seen those bottles sitting behind you, though.
Yes, they have
Yeah.
seen them, and they've seen them all day. And I never tell them no matter what it is. I always put the prop there, and they just would love to know from the minute they come in, what are we doing? What is it? And I always say it's a surprise. You have to wait.
It's
So-
about the last thing in your day,
and
too.
it is the very last thing
in
we
your
do.
day.
So it's a long wait for some of
Okay.
the children.
Yeah, right. Well, they were very
But yes, I
patient.
did start off by showing them the book that I just talked about that we have done a lot of different things with music, and I wanted, to do more, and so I found this book, Let's Make Music, and I went through it, and I just briefly, I think I showed them the table of contents.
And it was page 12.
And it was page 12. And then, I know I showed him this, but I didn't go through with the book. I think I just kind of started getting caught up in
The bottles.
in the
yeah.
bottles.
But I
and-
thought that was fine because they will see the book again.
Right,
and
we will
I
be
don't,
doing this.
in
This will be
small
carried
groups.
up- starting
That's right.
tomorrow, will be carried over
and,
into small groups.
Are you going to put the steps that were here on a poster chart for
Yes,
the table? Okay.
yes.
So you'll probably have
And then
this
I'm going
book.
to actually let them, fill the water
Yes.
and be
Right.
more involved in making.
So I thought that was fine today, that you
Okay.
just, for me, the basic idea for information text, particularly one like this, is that there are kinds of books we can go to that tell us how to do things.
right.
And so you were wondering what other musical instruments you might use, and you found this book that had ideas, and then, that you thought making bottle pipes, and it was on page 12, you flipped to that, just how we would use a reference book.
Okay.
And then the idea that it told you how, and then you set that aside, and you can go back to that with small groups. So I thought it was fine, particularly once the bottles are out.
Right.
They really want to know
To
from
know
the
about
bottles.
that
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
not about
yeah.
that book.
So,
Right.
but I thought it was a really good introduction, because they probably haven't even seen a reference book
Right,
before,
no,
or a
we-
directions book.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was perfect in terms of how to use that kind of book.
Okay.
Now, do you think the children would be able to make the sound blowing in those bottles?
I had a really hard time.
I know, I did too. We were trying.
But when you're working with kids, you have to let them know you're not perfect.
Right,
And
yeah.
and we have been talking about you need to practice, whether it's riding your bike and getting your training wheels off,
Right.
because that happened to one of the kids a few weeks ago. They got their training wheels off, and tying shoes, and you just say you have to practice,
Right,
and
right.
so I wanted them to know that it's okay. I'm not perfect, and I too need to practice.
Right.
So.
So if they have trouble in small groups, they won't think it's just that they're having
Right,
trouble. You
right.
you didn't do it perfectly
Right,
either.
and I tried to relate it to one of the books, like
Peter.
Whistle right, Peter
Right,
and his
right.
whistling. So,
I thought though that in small groups, maybe some kind of backup
right,
tool so
yes,
they can get a
I do
sound.
have a thing for a drum that has a soft,
Okay. Okay.
the head on
Okay.
it, because I with the glass, it does make me nervous. But putting them in the tissue box, I
Right.
think we'll be okay.
Sure.
But yeah, I do have plan on having another backup for.
Because I think they'll enjoy trying, and I would suspect that some children will put their mouths
Mouth.
over the whole bottle
Right.
top and blow, and they'll each have their own.
Yes,
so
they will.
they can experiment. But then when it comes to being able to create tones that really then probably being able to tap would
Right.
be
Yeah.
helpful for that. So, I wish I were going to be here to see the small group follow up. Small groups, but anyway, you'll have to tell me about it.
Oh, yes,
So.
I think they'll love it.
Okay, now, in terms of, let's find out about it, I have a little present or two for you here. Now, this isn't until Unit 6, but, which you don't even know about
No,
yet
I
because you've
don't.
never
That's
seen that
right.
unit. But it's Things That Grow.
Okay.
And we talk about animals as well as plants.
Mm-hmm.
And in the animal part, it talks about animal homes and how babies are in some kind of nest or shelter
Mm-hmm.
so that they're protected. So I have a little plot in a community garden, and I spotted this bird's nest in the lower part of the bush. So it didn't come in this. This is I wanted to protect it. So I will give that to you, and then. Often in the middle of a nest, the bird has found something that's quite soft, and so also, not in my garden because it's not that weedy, but down from the garden, there are all these milkweed plants, and they were just bursting the pods, so I got some seeds. So, but this would be nice for the children to feel, and then the idea that a bird can find this kind of soft
soft.
material and put in their nest, and then when you take them outside, when you take the children outside, you could give them a few of these, because it's really interesting to let them go in the wind, and
yes.
they really float. So anyway,
Well, I thank
so
you very much.
for May, let's find out, I think is a really wonderful
I love it.
component because there are
Yes.
these really interesting objects
Yes.
that they usually don't get to have their hands on. That
Exactly.
They get to look
They
at.
get so excited over, anything. The
Yeah.
piggy bank, when we did the piggy bank thing, they were mesmerized when I opened it up and there was money in there.
Right.
It was amazing to them.
It
So
takes a while.
I enjoy. This is one
Yeah.
of my favorite parts of the day.
Yeah.